Now, most people would have scrapped this E30, but I think it's worth saving. It's got some serious rust, the engine doesn't run, and it's been neglected for 10 years. But I'm going to try to bring it back to life. The question is though, did I buy a future classic, or is this the biggest mistake I've ever made? This thing was literally listed for $600 on Facebook Marketplace, and I jumped at the opportunity because I love the BMW E30 coupes. I've never had one before, and I knew it was going to be a challenge, but I just couldn't turn it down.
Right, so we're going to do the old school way. The old strop to the tree. Unfortunately, it was missing quite a few parts. The tail lights were missing, the interior, exhaust, amongst other stuff like grills and lights and things. Fortunately, the cost of the bits was worth more than the whole vehicle, so there was only one thing to do. I purchased the whole vehicle, threw the trailer back on, and within 24 hours was already on another road trip down to Dunedin to collect another E30. This time it was a sedan, but it had multiple parts that I would need. So luckily I was able to take heaps of bits off it and flick them on. The parts alone and all the spares I got off it were worth 2 to 3 times what I paid for the whole 2 vehicles. Right, so after a bit of a late night last night, pulling bits off this, I've now got some seats in here. Not perfect. This one definitely needs a bit of work, but a lot better than not having seats. And I've also chucked the tail lights on this, stop water getting in it. Again, they're not perfect, there's some cracks and things, but for the most part it's together. And then I'm thinking I might swap the wheels, take the wheels off this, and then that's probably it in terms of what this is good for. Flick this on again, someone will bite no doubt. There's some good bits still on it, but not really what I need. And this has got the M10 motor by the looks of it as well, so that might be useful for someone. And then ideally we'll get some manual pedals. So I've managed to sort out some a manual pedal box. Hopefully the guy will be sending that to me shortly. We've got the manual gearbox to come with it, so I just need to get a drive shaft really and flywheel, and we're pretty well set. How good? Right. We've got power on the dash. And the fan works and stuff. Very hard to turn over. I feel like the fuel pump's not priming that great either. Right, so we're just going to swap the starter out on this with that other one we got from the spare E30. This one's slow to crank, so I'm kind of hoping this new starter will kind of jump it back into life, so let's see what happens. Right, good news and bad news, people. So, bad news, my hands are bloody filthy. Good news, the starter is in. So, I've put a battery in there now on that side. We'll crank her over and see what happens. Now, this was cranking slow originally, so I'm hoping it's not a seized engine or anything. Okay, that's good. So that's cranking a lot faster than it did before, which means the starter was buggered. What that leaves us with then is then pulling one of these 2 fuel lines off here that come to the fuel rail. I'm going to check we're getting fuel pressure there. Right, so I've just pulled this fuel fitting off here and chucked it into this bottle. So we're going to be replacing the fuel hose because she's pretty buggered. And I'm going to be changing it out with this Goss fuel injection hose that I've just picked up from Repco. I've jimmied up the plug here. That should run the fuel pump the whole time. Hopefully we'll get fuel pressure there, and then I can slap these plugs back in, which have got spark, and then hopefully with fuel, spark, and it cranking, we can get this bloody thing fired up. So, apparently, according to ChatGPT and everything online, we checked for 12 volts on the injectors, which we got none. We got 0 volts. Right, so I've traced it back to the relay. For some reason, the relay doesn't seem to have the same pins as everything else online, which is weird. So I've just jumpered for the injector feed and the fuel pump feed, and so now it seems to work, which is good.
Right, so we've got our injectors here. I've just put brand new seals on these, top and bottom. It come with the new ends of it, but I haven't changed those over. I've just ultrasonic cleaned these, put a new filter in the tip, and then I'm going to refit them. Right, and there we have it. It's our fuel rail fully stripped down and rebuilt and cleaned. So she's ready to go back in, looking nice and tidy. So we'll slap that back in here, and then hopefully she'll get a good feed of fuel when we can fire her up.
Unfortunately, the ECU's injector driver was cooked. Somehow it had shorted out and blown apart. So this meant whenever the injectors were trying to fire, they wouldn't fire properly. They were supposed to be getting a ground and they just weren't getting one. So the only solution was to buy another ECU. After fitting the new ECU and checking the timing, I realised the timing was actually 180 degrees out and it was firing on the exhaust stroke, which was leading to all the pops and bangs that was happening. So after retiming it, we gave it one more go.
Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe if you like the video. There's going to be much more E30 content coming up as we repaint and modify the E30 coupe. But my question to you guys is, do we run the original M10 motor in naturally aspirated form? Do we turbo it? Or should we just swap it out for the big 3 litre straight 6 out of the 330i? What would you put in it? Chuck a comment below and let me know.